It's very interesting from a psychological point of view, the kinds of responses that people show. Sometimes they'll try to deny the reality of it altogether. So they'll simply say, that's not true, it isn't happening. The classic experiment from the 1970s, you put a single person in a room, they're filling out some questionnaire. What looks like smoke starts to come through a door at the end of the room, and people get quite concerned about that, and pretty rapidly they go and tell the experimenter, they say, well, there's something not quite right here. You can have other people sitting around and they're just filling out their questionnaire, and what you find is that in that situation, people, not exclusively, but there's a strong tendency for people not to report their concern. And this got to a point in the experiment where people were coughing, having difficulty breathing, and yet going on and filling out their questionnaire. A wonderful metaphor for the situation in which we find ourselves, that we have been allowing this situation to continue and for this gas to permeate the atmosphere. In the case of climate breakdown, whose responsibility is this? Why do we have emotions? There are things I do and they make me happy, and so I get feedback and say, well, I'll do more of those things. And then there are other things that I see and they make me angry. I might experience moral outrage, and what that's telling me is that there is some state of the world that, from my perspective, is not right. But our culture is one in which we often say, negative emotions are bad. Don't go there. We have a drink or some other kind of substance. We watch TV, we go shopping. The danger of shutting ourselves off from these negative emotions is that we then lose the opportunity to benefit from that feedback and to use it adaptively. I'm someone who has tried to have a low carbon footprint. It's not that I haven't been aware of the problems of impending climate change throughout my entire adult life. But in a way, that makes me feel almost more guilty, because I feel like I'm one of those people who has been engaged in that approach of just trying to do what I can, individual action. So I don't fly, and I'm a vegan, and I don't drive a car. It's not enough for me to do that and then ignore the rest of the world. And so I feel a sense of guilt that I haven't perhaps done enough to try to make change in the world. I believe the first step is acknowledgement, recognizing I am an addict. And maybe in some ways that is the most important step that we need at the moment. We live in a world in which many people struggle to find meaning in their lives. And they look to advertisers to find out what it is that's going to make them happy. And we see this image of, what's going to make me happy is if I buy this new watch, or if I'm reclining by the pool in this exotic destination sipping a cocktail. I've spoken to so many people who took part in the International Rebellion who have said, this was the best week of my life. And it's too many people for that just to be some kind of coincidence. And so you ask, well, what's going on here? If you look at it objectively, you might say, well, people were living quite rough. They didn't have lots of the usual trinkets of society to keep them happy. But what they did have was a sense of shared purpose and a real sense of community and camaraderie. And these are the things that actually make us happy. For children, of course, they should care about this issue, because unfortunately, we adults have left them in a very difficult position. And they'll see young children in the streets demanding a better future, and they'll say, what has gone wrong? How have we gone on such a wrong path that now our children are forced to leave school and demand change? Why are these people doing this, and why am I not more involved? I actually find it extremely powerful that people like Phil Kingston, He feels a deep sense of regret for what his generation has done, and he's telling us, he's like a spokesman for humanity, that we have to change. Stories from the past about people who have overcome great obstacles tell us that this is possible, and that's something that we have to hold on to.